Now, growing up, folks, most people got their local sports news from watching the daily news channel on your local news. That's boring. The other way you got it was just watching ESPN. And that's just boring too nowadays, folks, because nowadays Stephen A. Smith is just going to be arguing about how LeBron showing up to the Super Bowl affects his legacy, or how hot dog's a sandwich and it still affects LeBron's legacy. That's what it is saying ESPN. But there are better sports content creators out there. And tonight I bring you a man that's known for GPS, clickbait sports. That's Good Sports, his main content, folks. And of course, the curse wheel. We all know how the curse wheel goes. It's good, bad, and ugly. Most of the time, folks just wanted to see it burn up on fire. They do. It's just been that point here. But folks, let me welcome in our huge Broncos fan here, Brandon Perna.
Thanks for having me. I feel like Tom Grossi has been cloned and split off and turned into 3 more Packers fans that I get to do a show with today.
It's a familiar company, you know?
I talked to Tom this morning. I'm done. Actually, we didn't talk about Packers really at all today, so
Perfect.
happy to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course, appreciate you having you on.
And yes, folks, this is now our 4th member of the Clickbait Sports. We've had Tom on before. We've had Tree. We've had 5. Next week, Tree's coming back on, folks. So stay tuned for Tree when he comes back on. And we'll roast him about being a Steelers fan most of the time here, as we like to say on this channel here, folks. But let's kick it off here with Brandon here.
I beat Scooter. Scooter hasn't done it. I'm ahead of Scooter.
No, Scooter has not replied to us at all. Only his AI bots on Instagram DM has replied and doesn't want to do anything. So yeah, that's been with Scooter.
Classic.
So you got to tell Scooter. Yeah. But pivoted towards Brandon, how you've grown as now one of the biggest sports content creators. You are now number 2 on the Clickbait Sports and most subscribers. And you're better than, I would say, maybe Scooter for that reason there, folks. But he's done Brandon's done a great job, folks. But how did your YouTube channel start, Brandon? How did it begin for you?
I got real drunk and just said, time to make football videos. Got a camera going. Actually, I think the Colts video. The Colts video, I was actually drunk, but I was working with other YouTubers. I was editing, directing videos, and I interviewed for a job with Bleacher Report, a producer job. It was in New York City. I was in Los Angeles. They offered me the job, and I decided not to take it because I didn't want to move to New York. And I was going to have to be up at 4:30 a.m. to produce this live show, and I was like, I can't do that either. But on the plane ride home, I was like, I'd really like to do something in the sports arena because there wasn't a lot of that happening at the time. And so I think I drew the logo on my computer on the plane ride home, and then started doing the show with another comedian, Sam Comro. And we did a handful of episodes. It was very general sports stuff. It was shorter episodes too, and we did 10 of those, and then that was hard to do because you're coordinating with other people and schedules. And I was like, I'm just gonna try to do some Broncos videos. And when Peyton Manning was a free agent, the first video I ever did was about Peyton Manning, and I basically guaranteed he was going to sign with the Broncos. And then I got scared after I made the video. I edited it, and I was like, oh, man, I sound stupid. This is so dumb. Can't post this. And then he signed with the Broncos. And I was like, shit, I should have posted that. But I marinated on that for a while. And it was about a year later. I'm like, I'm just going to start making Broncos videos because I know about the Broncos. I know about the NFL. I'm just going to do those. Did some preseason videos, and then it was Peyton Manning's 7 touchdown game against the Ravens. That was the first video that people actually watched. And I was like, oh, all right, well, I'm just going to talk about the Broncos and what they did during the games every week. So that's kind of how it started. I think anybody who gets into it, it's very bumpy. You kind of have an idea of what you might want to do. Probably doesn't really work. And then it's just, you have this idea sitting in the back of your head, and then you execute at some point.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. And you've made great videos about like ESPN, the downfall of that, and I've watched that. And that actually inspired me, Brandon, of like making my own college project about how sports media is being affected by how the downfall of ESPN's been coming through. Luckily, got an A on that, thankfully. But
Nice.
how have you seen like sports content creators influence the way we see sports media today?
Well, I think just those networks having to compete with people like us who can just turn on a camera and start talking about a team, a game, a player, anything you want. It's everybody has the ability to make videos about sports now, about any subject, right? Any topic. And for a long time it was like sports in so many like TV networks. It was gate kept, right? You had to get past certain levels. You had to know certain people. You had to go through certain funnels to get to different areas, wherever you wanted to work, like a writer, a producer, editing, all that stuff. So when YouTube popped up and the whole landscape started to change, like those networks had to compete with idiots like me who are just fans, and you can talk about, you can have opinions, and they leaned into opinions, but you could have biased opinions about teams. You didn't have to hide anything. And that shifted, I think, how they approach things. And now it's just the speed in which people can make content. Everybody can go live. So the playing field's kind of leveled there a little bit. But like when we make those videos, like our rise and fall at ESPN, like I think ESPN's as strong as it's ever been. There's a ton of people watching. Like Pat McAfee show is huge, and I think they do actually a very good job of creating a different, slightly different format and style that people I think gravitate to versus just the debate format that kind of got overexposed. But like overall, what I think really bothers me about those places is you look at ESPN, it's this giant place that has all this money, and the first like 8 to 10 hours of their programming is just people talking to each other. And it's like, you guys could be, there could be an hour in there with really well researched and produced videos. And I think that's opened the door for like, some of our better performing videos on my channel are the things we put the most time and effort in. And, that's one writer, and then me messing up the writing with dumb jokes. And I had one editor for a long time, Johnny Barks. Before I was editing everything, now I got 2 editors helping me, and that's like a 3 to 4 man team. Is yet like where's the excuses for those networks not giving us something that's different than just people talking? And I think that's what, when you talk about the lack of variety there, it comes down to that production quality. Sorry, that was a really long answer, but I think about that shit a lot.
Very interesting, yeah.
Great stuff.
I'll shut up.
All right, we'll pivot to Mike now for your questions. Mike, go ahead.
No, I think that's awesome. I don't think they're long answers at all. I think they're great because I think one thing you hit on is kind of the democratization of kind of people's opinions about sports getting out there, plus also like relationships being built. In history of media, right, everything is very structured, and you need to have a media background to kind of get into it. But one thing I think you mentioned that was really interesting is how you started this and you didn't know what it would become, right? And also the relationships that kind of would form along the way. So my job is to kind of tie it back to the Tom relationship, kind of clickbait GPS where it came to. So just curious, when you first started it, did you have any kind of inkling of what this could become and kind of the relationships that would come along the way? Obviously, you didn't know Tom at the time, didn't know exactly the specifics. But did you think that you'd meet as many people and have the fan base kind of grow to this, and kind of like maybe walk us along the path and how those things came up and kind of like what benefits you saw in your own life and your own kind of relationships that came from the fact that podcasting was kind of so democratized?
Yeah, I was probably arrogant. I think I thought like I would have way more success much more quickly.
Really?
Because I was working around so many people who were like crushing it. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll do this shit for like a year, and then I'll have, I don't know, like 1 million subs by then. Because like I watched guys grow so fast, guys would add like 100,000 subscribers in like 2 days. I'm like, okay, I'm funnier than that guy, or like I could do that. But I think I got humbled very quickly and learned, oh God, this is hard. And it took me a long time, I think, to like just find the right voice for myself. And then in terms of like relationships, no, like it was very isolated. Like I leaned into a format where I knew I could do everything by myself, because I knew I was going to be the only person, that I could count on to show up. So, the reason I still sit behind like a desk and the camera's just locked off and I shoot it that way. And now it's like everybody's got that on their computer, right? But like I wanted something that was going to be easy that way. So I wasn't thinking about where it could go. And the first relationship I made was with my writer, Will Keys. And we got put in contact through one of the Broncos blogs that I was making videos for. And my buddy Chad, who worked there, who brought me in to make videos, was like, I think this guy Will fits your style. So Will and I have been writing and co-writing together for like 8 years now. So that was like the first really important relationship. And then I met Tom because he just called or he messaged me and he was like, I got a podcast about the Packers. Oh God, you guys are the next 3 Toms in my life. This is exactly how I met Tom, this very way. And we just talked like for an hour on the phone. Like he recorded me through my phone, so it wasn't even a video setup. And I think we just kind of hit it off. I think I met Adam 5 points before Tom, but I forget how Adam and I met. But we were talking about YouTube stuff like on the side and just being like a resource for each other. And then through Adam, I met Urinating Tree. And I did not know Scooter. I think Tom, Adam, and Tree and I did a show. We like, I had the idea like we should all stream at the same time to all of our channels. That way we'd reach more people.
Right.
And so we came up with the rough idea, the bastard idea that is clickbait. And so we did a show, and I think Scooter just DM'd us and was like, hey, I want to be on that show with you guys. And Scooter's channel was like the biggest at the time, and we were just like, yeah, definitely. Like I don't think any of us really knew Scooter. He just showed up, and so that was pretty cool. And then from there, yeah, it's like every year I feel like there's somebody new in the space that we meet, and the community that's kind of built is cool, and the fact that everybody can start doing it and that everybody can succeed in the space has been very cool. So no, I don't think I really understood where I would like, and I didn't even consider like sports. I didn't consider what I was going to be doing as part of actual sports media because it felt so detached.
Right.
I thought it would just be this funny, quirky thing about football, and it would always just be in that lane. But they've kind of like merged into this weird, blurry ecosystem now. So yeah, it's very cool, all the people that are doing it. And I try to, engage and support other creators who are doing it or learn from them. I've learned so much from Grassi. I learned a lot. Adam gave me some of like the best advice early on. So it's that's been a big part of it too. Like I take so much away from those guys and what they do.
Great.
But yeah, I thought this would be way easier.
One thing I took out of that is like in the beginning, you didn't think you could rely on anybody else other than yourself. So we've had Tom. We've also had Johnny Barks on the show. Did you know Johnny before Tom, or just out of curiosity, did Tom meet Johnny through you, or the other way around?
Tom introduced me to Johnny. So
Okay,
although I will say Johnny was watching my videos before he was watching Tom's.
There you go.
Suck it, Tom. But yeah, and Johnny, game changer for me. He was helping Tom edit some videos, and Tom knew like I was kind of thinking about trying to get some editing help, and so he introduced me to Johnny, and it worked out nice because I think at the time like Tom and I both kind of wanted to add somebody, but like as you're learning to monetize stuff, it wasn't like we had this big budget yet to work with or extra. So it's like, oh, I can pay him part-time and Tom can pay him part-time, and then that, together it's like he's got one real job between the two of us.
Right.
And then Johnny came in and he was good right away. But I would say like over those first few months, I just noticed Johnny getting better and better with every video. And then it got to a point where now like I don't even want to edit any of my shit anymore because I'm like, I want Johnny to do it. And I just know he's going to take more time. He's going to put in the work. And I've been working with another guy, Connor, who for about a year now, and Connor's gotten like really good. So having that just taken off your plate allows me to focus on other things, on scripts. But yeah, Johnny was awesome and a game changer. And editing was the thing that I did. So I was a video editor for like 10, well, I don't know, like when I started in YouTube, I'd been doing editing for like 6 years. But that was hard to get off my plate too, because that was the one thing I knew I could do really well. And there's like that trust issue of giving that to somebody else. And now I'm at a point like I don't want to edit another video with a single frame of my dumb face like ever again. But you know, I still have to sometimes. But yeah, those guys were awesome. And like my channel's grown because of Will and Johnny and Connor.
That's great. And just real quick before we hand it off to Jeff, I was just going to say, obviously the relationship you have, Tom, is very unique. Like the 30 for 30 when you guys met at the airport, that was a really cool moment. Obviously, it was the first time we had met in person. So I think just to kind of close up my portion of the segment here, I just think it's really interesting to see, you know, your career and how you mentioned like it was hard for you in the beginning to think about people you could rely on in your channel and your growth. And then now years later, you've been doing a show like GPS with Tom for what, almost 2 years now? I don't know the exact period, but
I think we'll be going into season 5 when
season 5. I'm sorry.
Year,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, something that way you could do an idea like that in the beginning, and then what do you call it? Just show how consistency and you could rely on others like that. So that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I knew I could trust Tom to show up. I backed out. I came up with the idea to do it with a show with Tom, and it was 2020. So you had COVID year, and then we were also my wife was pregnant, and our daughter was born in August, right before the season started, and I just freaked out. I was like, I don't think I could do all of this. I don't like. Sorry, Tom. Like I can't do this right now. Like let's aim for next year. So I kind of delayed it a year because I needed to learn that I could be a dad and do YouTube at the same time, and I was really scared like I wouldn't be able to do both. So I pushed it back a year, but then I knew the one thing like I would never question about Tom is his work ethic. I thought I worked hard. Then I met Tom. And I was like, this guy's insane. This guy, he sacrifices his own well-being, his sleep on a regular basis by choice. I was like, yeah, I'm never going to work as hard as that guy. So that trust was really important in terms of like starting a show. And plus like Tom and I had like good chemistry. Like we could play off each other when we're focused and dialed in. Like I felt like it would be a good idea to do a show. So yeah, knowing he would show up 3 days a week, only time we miss shows, and it's been a lot recently, and that's just because Tom's been out of the country. He's been traveling and doing things, but yeah, he'll show up sick. Like it's wild, but that's what I love about him.
That's great.
That's
Jeff,
awesome.
off to you.
Yeah, so now I'm just gonna ask some fun questions and not so much about your background.
Good, because those other ones were terrible. Mike and Jeremy just really bringing the show down.
No, you're no, it's very very informative stuff. Thank you for elaborating. So kicking it back to your Peyton Manning video that kind of launched things for you, you know, back in your initial kind of time frame when you were deciding to go the YouTube route or not. Do you think there's an Aaron Rodgers video in the future here in this offseason that you might be making?
I'm sure. I've made a handful of Rodgers videos. I go back and forth with Rodgers. He was one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. Like Peyton Manning became my favorite quarterback to watch when he was with the Colts, and that took a lot for me to admit as a very loyal Broncos fan. Let's see, I'm choking because it's so strange. And I was like, this is the first guy, like, because I was a very John Elway guy. Like John Elway was the greatest quarterback ever.
Right.
And then I started watching Manning. I was like, this guy might be the best quarterback I've ever watched. And then Rodgers, through his prime, I was like, this guy is insane. And so I always had a ton of respect for Rodgers. And then I think like I just, we've heard him talk too much. And I think it's a problem like lots of athletes face now where they're also able to have their own shows and podcasts, and after a while, you're like, yeah, the mystery about him's gone, the mystique's gone, and like whether you like him or not, it almost doesn't matter. It's just like that like mystery of Rodgers being so good. Why is this guy so insane? Like, how can he actually make those throws? And then he just got, he got into his own like ego shit and his ayahuasca and his contradictory everything. And now I'm like, it's hard to root for this guy. But I wanted him to do well with Pittsburgh last year. One of our like big predictions was like he was going to get him into the playoffs, and I wanted him to bounce back. And now I just want him to retire, I think. So I would love to do like an Aaron Rodgers career retrospective, like give him the appreciation he deserves for everything he did as a QB. But I think he's going to play for the Steelers, so I'm sure that will be the next video. We've got a Steelers script ready to go, but I'm like, I want to post it when he kind of announces, and I want to have that information to like put into the script. So, yes, Rodgers, could that be soon? Could be tomorrow. Right. Could be 2 months from now when we know if Rodgers is playing or not. I don't know.
So I actually asked the question because I saw it must have been like more of a joke, or maybe it wasn't substantiated, but I saw a rumor about them potentially, or him considering the Broncos, or the Broncos considering him. So maybe that's not something anybody else saw, but that's what I was actually referring to. Is would you have
now they would be considering him?
Yeah, like with Bo Nix, being injured, right?
Oh, they're like, if Bo's not ready, they would look at that. Would be insane.
Yeah.
But that's how all those big trades started, was the Rodgers to Denver rumors.
Yep.
Right. I think Adam Schefter, was it Schefter?
Yep.
Started saying that. It was right before. Was that the 2020 draft?
Yeah, it was right before the 2020 draft. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Schlereth, for some reason, I remember.
Yeah, it was Schlereth.
Broke on his YouTube channel, and it picked up steam, and then I think he basically lost all credibility after that.
Yeah, so those rumors were big, and then it was a year later the Russell Wilson stuff happened, and then the Packers and Rodgers did move on. So, yeah, dude, if he was, well, I don't want that to happen. Just thinking about like the amount of work it would be right now and the amount of backtracking I would have to do on shit I've said about Rodgers lately. But in terms of like content and eyeballs and intrigue, that would be insane.
Be very beneficial.
One question I do have on that real quick, sorry, is do you think that the Broncos hired Nathaniel Hackett mostly to try to entice Rodgers to come to Denver? I always felt that at the time. Just curious. I think so too, right?
Yeah. I think they liked Hackett, though. I think George Payton genuinely thought like Hackett would make a good head coach. And I think Hackett is a very likable guy, and I think he knows how to talk about football and he understands the game. But in terms of being a leader and being a coach, he definitely wasn't ready. Yep. Is he a coordinator this year for the Cardinals?
He's been like assistants in weird positions.
Yeah, I think
you're right.
I think
he's back as a coordinator?
He's too much of a goober to be a head coach, I think. He's a fun like, charismatic dude that could bring the energy up, but he's just too much of a goober to be a head coach, I think.
I think if he can find his footing as an offensive coordinator, like he could be a very solid OC, but
for sure.
And it sucks it didn't work out because I liked Hackett too. I was like, this guy is fun. He is funny. He is goofy. I want that to work, but that was a disaster.
him and Russell Wilson particularly, that combo though, my goodness, that is brutal in retrospect.
Not a good.
You're absolutely correct, Brandon. What do you call it? He's now the offense coordinator for not Matt LaFleur, but Mike LaFleur in Arizona.
Yeah.
So,
that's some nepotism right there, baby. All right, one more question for you before Jeremy wraps us up with your LinkedIn message from the time machine to end the show here. What's your favorite sports movie, or if that's too difficult of a question to do off the top of your head. Just a sports movie that brings, nostalgic vibes that you just remember watching a lot as a kid on a nice summer day.
Yeah. Now I like try to avoid sports movies almost because
Oh, wait, what?
like I do is all I see is football all day. It's all I'm thinking about.
That's
like
fair.
I gotta
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm rewatching Mad Men for like the third time, but in the pit, which is awesome. I think like honestly, like it's hard to beat Remember the Titans for like just a good football
Yeah.
movie.
Doesn't have to be football. Also, it could just any sports movie.
But probably one of my favorites as a kid was Necessary Roughness.
Ooh, I haven't
guys
seen that
watch
one.
that?
I haven't seen that one in a long time.
I haven't seen it.
I made when Will, the guy he was in Denver. I made him watch that, and I hadn't seen it forever. It doesn't really hold up, but it's got like Sinbad's in it.
Ooh,
Scott
promising.
Bakula. There's young Jason Bateman.
Oh, nice.
And it's like it's about a quarterback who's like 40 years old, but he has a year of eligibility left, and he goes to play college football in Texas with his old coach or whatever. It's a comedy. I loved that movie as a kid, though.
Sinbad and Jason Bateman. I'm sold.
Yeah.
That's an intriguing combination.
And Little Giants
Little Giants
was
is a
in the
classic.
rotation, very heavy.
Yeah.
We got through most of that with my daughter. I think she thought it was going to be about like actual like giants, so she was disappointed immediately that it was a football movie. But she kind of got into it. But yeah, Little Giants was.
Yeah.
Phew. I mean, I think that was my birthday party or my friend's birthday party. We went to the theaters to watch that. So
Yeah. No, it's definitely a nostalgic one for sure. That's up there with like Rookie of the Year for me. It's kind of in a similar category where that one, whenever it's on, cable or whatever, flipping through YouTube TV, gotta toss it on.
Yeah.
Also DVDs, if you still have them, kids.
Surprised you know what a
Launch
DVD
them.
is, Jeremy.
Hey, there's also VHSs too. That's a brand.
Wow, Jeremy knows a lot.
Vintage for you. All right.
Yeah, I still have my VHS down the basement.
All right, round us up here, Jeremy.
Yeah. So one thing I did want to touch on with Brandon, because this is something I always ask, like with Tom or Five or Tree about advice and all. And I did message 4 years ago to Brandon's LinkedIn because I didn't know he had LinkedIn. I was like, all right, let's just see what happens. And I just messaged Brandon. He actually replied back to me. So I'm going to quote this of what Brandon said. I'm going to ask Brandon if this is still true to this day about how to build a great YouTube channel, great videos. And what he said, specifically by Brandon here, he said, my best advice outside of making good videos is to use intensing titles and thumbnails. That's half the battle. And make the content that's evergreen. Videos that people want to click on more for than a couple days is a smart approach, in my opinion. The sports news cycle is relentless and it can dictate your life. Haha. It can tell great sports stories on YouTube. That's the best approach for longevity and finding new audience members. Is that true?
I would say that's still pretty true.
Yeah, it's pretty fair. Yeah.
I think, and that's something we did. We tried to add more evergreen topics into the rotation. I would say if you're being very real about it, it's you want to commit to doing all of them well. You want to be good at the news stories when they happen. You want to be good at making evergreen videos. You want to be good doing live, and you want to be good doing short form content. I suck at short form content, but like I would say, start with one. Start with the thing you know you can do well. Build on that, and then add the other things in over time because that's the way like we did it. But also, I would add like make sure you like doing it. Right? Like if you're all Packers guys and you're making videos about the Packers or talking about the Packers, like people are going to gravitate to that. Like I get asked a lot, like, "Hey, do some NBA videos or do more hockey videos." I'm like, I watch the playoffs, but I don't watch that every day. You don't want somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about making videos for you to consume because you're going to look stupid unless your angle is to be, silly about those things and.
Like ESPN.
Yeah, I think that's solid advice. Sure. I'm glad I didn't say anything weird or dumb. So.
Well, I want to say, first of all, thank you for coming on the show. Second of all, thank you for taking the time to respond to Jeremy, who you never knew at that time that you'd be on the show now, getting to
Yeah, it's
getting some
4 years
recognition.
ago. He was in college.
Right. I'll just say, like, Jeremy is, I've been doing a show with Jeremy. Probably we started right around the time he sent you that DM. And, Jeremy is a really great kind of young person in the sports media space. And to take the time to respond to him in LinkedIn before you even had any idea you'd be on this show getting recognition for it 4 years later, I appreciate you doing that because that was awesome. And it wasn't a short answer, it was a very thought out answer. So that was very nice of you.
No, I appreciate that. I try to. It's hard. Like, I get so many messages now, and like, if it's not somebody I already know, 70% of them are garbage and spam and or sex accounts. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard. Like, I miss so many things, and like when people have good questions about it, you want to say like, yeah, this is the info I have because it can be helpful, and just information's power. And if I can hopefully give somebody a nugget that helps them do this shit or whatever in this space, like that's awesome. And again, I'm just glad I didn't say anything weird or stupid.
Well, hopefully Jeremy would have shared that on your show. So if you did, maybe he's just holding it back.
Yeah. Give up now. I don't want any competition, you loser. Blocked on LinkedIn. The ultimate block. Can you even block people on LinkedIn?
I think you can, or like you can't accept their invitation. I found it very funny though when I looked at your LinkedIn account, Brent, is like my location is my basement of where I do my work. And I'm like, that's the greatest answer for LinkedIn of like where you show up for work.
Yeah, I think I had some very unprofessional stuff on my LinkedIn profile for like way too long. I was like, people might look at this that I, like a brand or something. I should change this to something that's, I guess, approachable.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, thank you again. We appreciate you coming on. That concludes another episode of PackReacts. So before we head off, I got to ask Brandon one quick question left here. This is a fun one.
Today's episode is sponsored by LinkedIn, by the way.
There we go. This episode is definitely sponsored by LinkedIn. But Brandon, where can the people find you?
My basement.
Hope we don't go there.
Yeah, do not show up. That's Good Sports on YouTube. The only place I really care about.
Awesome. But folks, that appreciates here. And our next episode, we'll be having Tree on from also Clickbait Sports here. So we'll stay tuned, and hopefully the Broncos maybe have a good draft pick.
Does Tree have a LinkedIn message?
No, Tree does not have a LinkedIn message. He does not. But yeah, so hopefully Broncos have a good draft pick. And thank you, Brandon, for coming on once again.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Of course.